Hi, and welcome back to Joe's DIY, back again with another video. Today I'm here to share something that I found at my local thrift store. Kind of an interesting item because this is something that you don't see every day. I was surprised to have found this in the box, although I did open it and I did see that it had been used, that there is some wear on it. But it was interesting that it was complete and still in the box, and probably from the early to mid 80s, and that is a realistic 8-track playback deck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this, and we're going to both take a look at what's inside and how it came packaged. It's just astonishing someone would keep this whole thing complete somewhere in some garage or maybe in a closet all these years until they somehow end up at a thrift store. So kind of interesting. So we're going to go ahead and open it together, and we're going to see what's inside. And I will try to do a tape sample. I'm not sure if I can find something that's not copyrighted, but I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, I do have a lot of 8-tracks, so maybe I might come across something, but we will see. I will also take a look at the specs and, just see what this machine is capable of, and then after that you'll hear some sound samples if I can pull it off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this was a huge surprise that I was able to find this realistic 8-track, tape deck with the box and everything inside of it from when it was originally shipped. That's a good look at the sides of the box. You don't really find that very often at a Goodwill, especially because 8-tracks haven't really been used for probably since like the early 80s. Most people switched over to tape, probably by 1983, 84. So let's go ahead and take this out of the box, and it comes with the original styrofoam, and the manual is right around here. That is the original owner's manual, and those are a good look at the specs. I don't know, quite honestly, I don't know too much about 8-track players. 0.3% wound flutter is kind of high from my experience at looking at turntables. And that's very, typical with all 8-track players. You're going to get some degree of wound flutter. That's probably why they weren't used past the 1970s and early 80s. And that was a good look at the back, and that's a good look at the front of the appliance or the machine. And, Realistic was a brand that was sold by Radio Shack. I'm sure that if you're watching my channel, you're probably familiar with what Radio Shack was. And for those who weren't, it was basically a small retail store that sold electronics. And they became kind of a big chain in the 70s, 80s, going up to the end of the 90s when their stores started closing down. So, nice little guide here to tell you kind of like everything about the machine. It even has, I don't know, I think we missed it there, but it does have a schematic in the back that kind of tells you how the whole thing is wired. It's a very, 8-track players are not very complicated machines. They're pretty easy to work on, change the belt out, and stuff like that. This obviously was used, as you can see from some of the wear on there. I did clean some of that off, but some of it's scratched into the metal casing. But there's a good look at the back there, and you got your typical stuff made in Taiwan, which is kind of interesting there. That little pod is actually used to adjust the volume on it. You can adjust it if you feel like the sound's coming out a little bit low. I usually keep it right at 12 o'clock. That way, it's not too loud, it's not too low. And obviously, that wood is simulated wood. It's not real wood. These cables were also in there. I don't know if they're the original ones or not. So I do have quite a few 8-tracks in my collection, and these are a couple that I recently picked up at a thrift store. David Bowie, Diamond Dogs, AC/DC, Highway to Hell, and Van Halen Debut. Wish I could play these on there. I'll briefly just demo how that's done. You just insert an 8-track just like that. And there will be a light that turns on. And there's like clicks that you could switch over between programs. Back in those days, the arrangement for the tape deck was in program. So you'd have about 4 or 5 different songs per program. And if you wanted to skip over to the next program, you just push that button for the other 5 or 6 or 5 or 4 songs that would be in that program. Here I have a stereo cassette adapter. So this is the way I plan to demo this cassette deck. We're going to be using just a regular cassette, and it converts a cassette signal into the 8-track. And I do have my bend sound, which is a royalty-free type of music that I can use. And I will be playing that through the 8-track player. So, it basically works just like an 8-track. And you don't really need to change the programs. There is a switch to make it play. And this adapter is basically actually powered through the 8-track's power. So it'll play just like a cassette deck. It's just that it's going to be playing through the 8-track player. So we're going to go ahead and try to get some sound samples, even though the converter really doesn't work very well, but this is all I have at the moment. So we'll have to just bear with that, since I don't have a royalty-free 8-track. And we'll go ahead and start with that. So here are my final thoughts. I thought this was a very interesting pickup. I've gotten so lucky lately at my local thrift store that I've been able to find something like this, with some use, but still in the box with the original manual, even the original styrofoam. Personally, I've bought a pretty decent 8-track player. Obviously in the used market, that was a little bit, higher end, like a Pioneer, and you do get a decent sound out of these. The realistic is not exactly that; it's actually more of an economy type of 8-track player. You're gonna get a lot of wow and flutter. Typically turntables have less than 1% wow and flutter. This one had 3%, which is kind of high. I don't know if you noticed when I was playing the track for the bend sound that it was a little bit wobbly towards, I guess, some of the trumpet part, because this was a kind of a jazzy tune that I put on for you as a demo. And you could actually hear the warble. Sometimes you can't really hear it unless you have really fine tuning your ears. But I was able to, it's pretty noticeable, but it's not too bad. As far as picking up a track to play on an 8-track player like this, it's a crapshoot really, because these tapes did not age well. They fall apart a lot of times. There's like a little tape head standoff that's inside the cassette, and sometimes that goes bad or it falls apart, it disintegrates, and you're not when you put an 8-track tape in there, it's not going to really play. So that's something to watch out for, because if you are interested in getting into 8-track players and things like that, that's something that you're going to have to be expecting or ready for. You're going to have to take apart some of these cassettes and try to refurbish them as best you can. I know that they sell the little standoffs online on eBay. Someone reproduces them. I'm not sure who, but I've heard about it. You could do that. I'm sure that will be a great help to kind of restore some of these old tapes. But when I do find them, sometimes another thing too is that the actual tape might have come off the little reel, so you might have to glue that back on. There's always this little piece of aluminum that is supposed to signal the tape head on the 8-track player to switch over to the next program. Sometimes that comes off, and it won't loop the way it's supposed to loop. So there's 8-tracks are not the easiest thing to collect for. I got this one because it was in the box and it was new. I wasn't really looking for one, but I thought this would be an interesting video to make today. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed my video. Take care, have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.